incredibly well against Lindsay Smith, who'll be in action for England tonight. Lindsay Smith targets the stumps with her kind of Akhil Hussain-like in-swingers. Chatley's more than happy to take that risk, and on today's occasion it hasn't worked. In at 3, we have Phoebe Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin had a bit of a dry spell at the moment. She's not really fired so far this season. Had an injury down at the Utility Bowl when they were playing in the 50 over competition against Hampshire, and returned a couple of games ago, but hasn't really had the impact that she'd have wanted, especially with the bat. So good opportunity for her here today. Bryony Smith at the other end, just to settle in.
Feels like Franklin's like a number of players in this squad where they know there's the ability to bat there, and they often get opportunities to open up and higher up the order. That's a good start, but finds the fielder. As I'm wont to do. I was going through scorecards of last season's South East Stars matches. And that is over mid-on, and 4 runs. Franklin's away.
Yeah, that'll settle her in. That is a big strength of Phoebe Franklin's. Where it wasn't so much Kira Chatley's, this is a big strength of Phoebe's, just playing down the ground.
That was eventually going to be what my question is. What type of style of batter it is Franklin? Because I saw in these scorecards from last year, a number of players opened alongside Bryony Smith, Phoebe Franklin being one of them. Kind of what is it? Where are her strengths? Why does she have that ability to open the batting when Surrey wants her to? That's going to be 4 more. And if you had wanted any impression of why this will be a high-scoring encounter, that is it. Franklin has just clipped the ball off her legs there, and it's rolled between a square leg and fine leg, and there's no chance of stopping that before it's got to the boundary. It's gone incredibly quickly, and it was nothing more than a tap.
Yeah, she's tucked that off the hip, round the corner between third and square leg. Yes, so to go back to your question there, Franklin she's a very powerful player. She, although from the screen she looks very slight, she's incredibly strong, incredibly powerful, and she hits the ball hard and flat. So when she clears rope, she does it not in an elevated way, but in a flat 6 kind of way. So even those straight down the ground back over the bowler's head, they won't kind of loop over, they will be hard and flat. And the same when she hits those slog sweeps over deep mid wicket. So she's a keen hockey player, and you can kind of see that a little bit in her technique. So she hits hard and flat and just pushes through the ball.
So after 3 overs, the score is 31 for 1. Another bowling change for Durham as Maddie Villiers comes into the attack. So this will be the 4th over and the 4th bowler. Molly Armitage can't do 20 and 20, but we can see I'd love to get 10 and 10 or 9 and 9. Bowled. What a fantastic delivery to start for Villiers. Smith just looking to push the ball up to mid-on. And that has snuck between bat and pad. The perfect start for Maddie Villiers and Durham.
It almost looked like a very slow delivery from Villiers, who's not known for bowling slowly, although in the last couple of seasons has taken a few clicks off just to allow for a bit of turn, and that has come through exceptionally slow and has completely deceived Bryony Smith and turned on to take the top of middle there.
Well, it has spun. The ball has gripped there, rather than just skidding on, as you say, which we associate more with Maddie Villiers. She's bowled a beautiful stock delivery there, where the ball has just curved away from the right-handed Smith, and then ducked in off the surface. And Smith was powering along. She goes for 18 off 8 deliveries, I believe. And that brings Emma Jones to the crease.
Coming out to bat, Emma Jones.
It's a very stacked, power-based top 6 this. So again, if you've ever seen Emma Jones, and I was watching her warming up in the nets, she can hit a long ball. So if you're sitting in the stands, just make sure you're watching the game today. You don't want to catch one on the head, unlike a unfortunate fan at Canterbury down at the T20.
I missed this.
Yeah, tough.
Thick outside edge, and again more runs. If you beat the ring, you will be rewarded here at Guildford. It's a parched outfield, The ball is hardly losing any pace as it skips along the surface. Not that much width from Villiers at all, just a slight drop in length. It's allowed Jones to rock back, cut the ball away. Short again, this time pulled. Ball deep mid-wicket, be able to intercept it? Yes. That's really well run from Phoebe Franklin. There aren't those pockets here at Guildford because the ground is pretty small. She does very well to get back for 2. Short again.
Oh, the fielder's done very well there to adjust their feet. It's just almost overrun that one.
Well, Abby Glenn has both done very well and very badly at the same time. I think the ball was going straight to her. She slightly overran it. There was a bit of spin on the ball. She did exceptionally well to kind of shove her hand out, prevent that going for 4. 2 more runs. Driven. That's a dot ball. 1 run that remains. After that first kind of delivery to Bryony Smith, but he's just been struggling to find her length a little bit. Wide again. Just a dot to finish. So after 4 overs, the score is 39 for 2. Have you played much at Guildford?
Yeah, I've played plenty here. It's lovely. Although it's never warm whenever I play here. I will say that. I've played here in the snow, played here in the rain, I've played here in the frost. I can't actually, it's extremes. I'll take it back. There's never just a nice day. I'd consider this a nice day to play cricket.
This is a wonderful day.
So it's real extremes for me whenever I've played here. But no, I love, it's a batter's paradise, Guildford.
Well, 5th over. And the 4th bowling change. I can't quite say it's 5 and 5, but every opportunity Holly Armitage has had to make a bowling change, she has taken it. So Lauren Filer is back into the attack for her 2nd over. Now I really, we can actually bond over cricket stuff here. So I'm excited.
Okay.
I've also played here a lot. And I very much enjoy playing here. There's a railway track going on in the background, but quick from Filer. An appeal, but no dice from the umpire. But I was thinking about it on the train down. I think this is the ground where I've been hit for the most 6s in my life, quite comfortably.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a bowler here. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I had a quite torturous day here last year, and I was, no disrespect to Guildford Cricket Club at all, I was just quite looking forward to never returning after it. But what can you do?
Lauren Filer seems to have found a better length first ball of this over.
Chopped away from Franklin.
It's a nice quick single there in the ring too. Putting a little bit of pressure on the fielder. Forces the misfield and easily come through for the single. Yeah, Filer returning from injury. It's good to see her back bowling. So she's just settling into her rhythm now. She was with the T20 squad with England on what day was it? Wednesday. Warming the bench up, chatting with Lottie for a while. So I'm sure she's happy to be on the field and doing what she does best.
The change in the field here. Deep 3rd has come into the ring. Deep wicket is out, as well as deep square leg. Bit of a bluff. She goes full, and it finds that gap between backward point and short 3rd. Will intercept the ball before it reaches the boundary. They've come back for 3. In early stages, but Surrey and Phoebe Franklin in particular have run exceptionally well.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention as well is Phoebe Franklin is an absolute athlete. So yeah, if you're batting with Phoebe, you're running a lot. But she calls well, so it's all good.
Mentioned Emma Jones's ability to hit a long ball. She had the most remarkable game, and more to the point, innings earlier this season. She went on a 1-match loan to Glamorgan. She arrived on the morning of the game. She's given someone else's shirt. And she played, I'm going to get the scorecard up, I believe she finished around 140 in a losing cause. Edged. Deep 3rd has gone back out, and it's skipped along. Phoebe Franklin's got 4 there for all money, that looked as if it was going to be just 1 run, but this dry outfield, the ball's just skipped on. 4 runs added to the total.
Yeah, you can see both batters here. So the field is up on the onside. So both batters are desperately trying to break through that cover boundary. And fortunate on that time to take that edge and go away for 4.
Cover edge from Franklin brings 1 run.
Goalkeeper-esque stop there from Katie Levick at short fine, 45.
The 5th over, the score is 48 for 2.
Going along nicely here, so run rate of 9.6. Franklin 14 from 9 and Jones 11 from 6. Are we going to see another bowling change, Cam? Yes, we are.
Fantastic. I love this from Holly Armitage. So to round out the power play, we'll have the first over from Phoebe Turner. She's had a very fine start to the season in the One Day Cup.
Yeah, she's been in great form in the One Day Cup, actually. Kind of from, I don't want to do her a disservice, but kind of from nowhere, I'll be honest. I think she's probably a name at the start of the season that a lot of people maybe, and maybe this is just my ignorance, would have said, well, you know, we don't really know anything about her, but she's certainly a name that's going around the circuit in terms of she's taking wickets and she's threatening the outside edge and the stumps.
Umpire happy with that. I thought there might have been a stretch of the arms there. A little wide delivery from Turner, but she more than gets away with it. What's that kind of, I don't know what the right word is, feeling like where you start the new season and there's word that kind of player from up north or out in the west side is bowling well and it kind of goes around the circuit. It is given as a wide. I imagine kind of players are the first to know if there is any kind of player that's likely to be tipped for England and going up to the top, because you guys are the ones playing against them. Kind of have the nod early on.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and I think, you know, when she's been bowling that well, Eva Gray also at Essex has been bowling really well. So
Driven, is that going to go over mid-off? Yes, just evades Lauren Filer at mid-off, who tries to take a falling catch, but the ball was always just going away from her. I think the ball just clipped her fingertips on the way through. That's going to be a sore graze. That right elbow.
the tubey grip on.
Straight and well bowled from Turner.
Yeah, and what I've noticed about Phoebe Turner is I've watched some of her overs back and some of her deliveries, and particularly some of her wickets. She's actually a very natural swinger of the ball. There's nothing forced about it, so she gets really nice away swing, drifting away from the batter. But she's also got a lovely bit of carry through to the keeper as well.
It's beautifully played by Franklin. She only gets 1 run with deep point out on the boundary. I remember hearing Johnny Bairstow talk about it when Gus Atkinson made his debut in T20s a couple of years ago. He was talking about kind of the hushed whispers that kind of, I always imagine players are reticent to give praise to anyone else. And then when someone's actually quick or actually a bit special, people talk out the side of their mouths and going like, this kid down at Surrey is actually quite good. Pulled straight from Jones. That's a wonderful shot. So early on that drop in length from Turner. And hammers the ball back past the bowler.
I wouldn't even say that was that short, but she's just jumped onto the back foot really quickly and pulled it gun barrel straight.
I think it's my favourite shot in cricket. The straight pull.
The
You have to be so easy.
Yeah.
So easy, so early on the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you get it wrong, caught and bowled's on. I wouldn't be throwing at the stumps there, Maddie, not with this outfield. Oof.
My heart was in my mouth there for a second. That if that clipped the stumps, I was going to run away for 4.
Well, yeah, and that wouldn't be the first time Maddie Villiers has thrown a few buzzers either.
Well, end of the power play. The score is 56 for 2. With Emma Jones Jones on 15 off 8. Phoebe Franklin on 17 off 13. Do we have another bowling change? No. Lauren Filer is going to continue. You've got to think that's probably quite passive captaincy from Holly Armitage, actually. Needs to change things up a little bit more. Keep Surrey guessing.
She's really letting the players dictate what happens here, isn't she?
I found the scorecard of Emma Jones's century. It's made her chasing 290 to win. She was batting number 5 and she made 147 not out off 101 balls. 21 fours. Swing and a miss. Glamorgan fell short by 11 runs, and the next highest score after her unbeaten 147 was 25. It's a good day.
So she scored 147 of the team's 278
Correct.
runs.
And to add a little bit more mystery and intrigue to the match, the number 11 on Glamorgan's card, who ended up all out, was absent. Where was she?
Absent?
Absent.
Like they took the register and didn't mark her in?
Exactly that. So I think it was just a kind of a quirk of the system, as it were, where I believe the player got injured in the first innings and then was absent. Maybe she'd gone home. I don't know.
I like the term absent.
But that's the thing. It's
Not
like
did not bat. Absent.
Correct. I don't know why it wouldn't be.
The letter's
DNB
gone
or
home to the parents.
a
Phone
little
call
circle
home.
in the register. Over backward point. That should be intercepted. It is. Franklin's able to get back for 2. Filer's bowling with good pace here. Franklin kind of backing away a little bit, trying to slash the ball square of the wicket. We're outside of the power play, so Durham are able to have those 4 fielders outside the ring. We have a deep square leg, a fine leg, a deep third, and a cover point out. In effect, it means she's going to be bowling halfway down with her protection square and behind her. That's 1. That's that cover sweeper. Slight fumble in the deep, but that can be excused. It's going to be a very dry and, as a result, bobbly outfield. Well, the ground looks in fantastic condition. It is still scorched earth a little bit, so we haven't had any rain.
No rain and a hosepipe ban coming, I'm sure. That's all everyone could talk about, really. I was just looking at actually where Lauren Filer's third is. It's actually quite a straight third, and then you're looking at backward point. Backward point is almost in a very wide, short third position. They are the most backward they could get while still qualifying as a backward point, I'd say.
Does that reflect the pace she's bowling, why Durham is testing the field that way?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think just that it's almost a little bit of compensation for you're bowling really well, but you might get punished for it with that thick outside edge. So actually, will protect you a little bit by bringing our field a little bit straighter.
Well, to Jones, they brought fine leg up into the circle, put deep mid wicket out. Filer bowling that wide line again. It's a fantastic over for Durham. Just 2 runs off it after 7 overs. The score is 59 for 2.
Yeah, that's a really good over for Filer. She'll be happy with that. I think both batters there just beating for pace, actually. Nothing more. It's pretty up and down. There's nothing really coming out of the deck in terms of seam movement. So I think just good channels and done for pace. Maybe Surrey batters just trying to do too much, be a bit too clever instead of just getting bat on ball.
Well, it's the first real cheap over of the innings so far. And it's amazing how quickly that run rate can drop when an over goes in the bowling team's favour. Well, good news. Normal service has resumed. We have another bowling change. Maddie Villiers back into the attack for her second over. Discussions are taking place. What plans they will enact.
What do you think's a good score then today? Not 237.
No, that's for me to
that
ask you. You're the expert.
Oh, come on, you've bowled here.
Oh, I know. So, well, if I'm bowling, boys, 20 overs, about 360. That'll be fine. Swept. Can deep square leg get in time? No. Bit of spin, but it keeps it to 1. I think anything under 180 and I'm getting a bit nervy.
Yeah, I was going to say 180's got to be a benchmark here. It just is down to these here. If Surrey lose regular wickets, then 180 might be a stretch. So partnership's going to be key here.
This is good from Villiers. She's bowling very straight. Four fielders outside the ring, a long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg. There's no fielder in the ring in front of square on that leg side. Okay, forcing Surrey to take a risk. Having said that, to Phoebe Franklin, they now have a deep cover and a mid-off. It's quite an unusual field. I haven't seen this deep extra cover, I beg your pardon. Straight from Franklin. And that's 6. That's a wonderful shot. Quick skip down the track. And she's clopped Maddie Villiers back over her head.
Yeah, what I was going to say actually just before we spoke, well, while we were talking around totals, is in order to get to 180, these two are going to have to really work out how they're going to score boundaries. You know, the field's spread now, so changing the field, we now have a long on. It's really
Villiers
nicely played.
comes round the wicket and loses her line. Franklin's able to sweep behind square.
This is the innings I've been waiting for Phoebe Franklin. This will do wonders for her confidence. That's nicely played, picked up the fact that she's coming round the wicket. Played with the line of the ball. Square leg probably needs to come much further behind, but even so, to cut that off, they probably would have had to been Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price.
Franklin's on 27 off 19. Maddie Villiers does instruct her deep square leg to stay backward of square. Everyone moves around, shifts around a little bit. Deep mid wicket moves to kind of a stump high line. Struck firmly down to long on.
That dive by Maddie Villiers reminded me. Have you ever seen the penalty simulator where there's the robot that stops you scoring and is impenetrable? It looked a bit like that, where they go from upright to horizontal in a matter of milliseconds.
Is this one they built to kind of challenged Messi to try and score a penalty against it? It's well bowled from Villiers. Dot to finish the over after 8 overs. The score is 72 for 2. To be expected, we have another bowling change. Ron Filer bowled 3 overs, so she'll be keeping 1 in the tank. Looks like we're going to have the leg spin of Katie Levick back into the attack. She picked up a wicket in her first over, bowling Kira Chatley. It'll be interesting to see. It seems like these two batters are having very different fields set to them. Different plans being enacted for both. So we currently have Phoebe Franklin on strike. The 5 fielders we have in the ring are short third, short fine leg, square leg, and point, and a cover. Which sneaks past Franklin. I'm not really sure where she'll be aiming to bowl here. With the, she can't get 2 straight square legs in the ring. Just driven out to long off for 1 run.
Just bunted that one down the fairway. That was nice, just off the tee. I will say Phoebe Franklin is a very strong sweeper as well, so with that square leg up, if her line does stray, she will be punished through square.
It's really lovely. Shot for 1 from Emma Jones. These two have been ticking along nicely. The partnership's 42 off 31 deliveries. Finding the inside of that wide line really well across this innings. A number of balls Surrey's batters have reached for. Gone through as dot balls. Such Franklin steps across her stumps. Kind of plinks the ball up to long on.
Yeah, good over this so far for Levick, just 3 from it. She's been on the circuit for a very long time, Katie Levick. Knows what she's doing.
Pulled straight. Will land short of long on. So quiet over comes to an end for Surrey. Just 4 singles off it. Durham will be very pleased with that result. After 9 overs, the score is 76 for 2. Of course, another change of bowling. Now Phoebe Turner returns to the attack from the pavilion end. Are we still 180 from here will be, well, the best part of just under 10 runs and over. I just feel like, given how quick the outfield is, that anything less than 180 and you can almost get there by accident. A couple of edges go against you and 4 or 5 boundaries are flown, and that's 20 runs knocked off the target, no bother. And as soon as you're chasing around H, I think you'd be pretty comfortable in these conditions.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying there. It just becomes a little bit more difficult when there are 4 fielders out, finding those boundaries. And something that Surrey didn't struggle to do on Saturday was find the boundary, but this is where it's going to be really important for Durham in terms of restricting and giving themselves a target to chase that is manageable, is managing how many boundaries the Tours are going to score.
See it again, just that slightly wide line, which is beating Surrey's batters so far.
Well, that's come through at some height. Bess Heath has taken that almost up near her shoulders then on her inside left hip. Lovely carry for a fairly green wicket. Groundsman just trying to look after them as much as they can.
Straight, driven, and that's found the gap. For a moment, Durham would have been interested there, and it was going to find the field, find the fields of the hands, find the hands of the fielders. But as it happens, ball sneaks through the gap, and that's 4 runs.
Yeah, a little conversation there between mid-off and extra cover, as if to say, do you think you should have dived for that? And shrug of the shoulders, just to say, you know, should you have? Because that's kind of taking the pressure off there, so that'll be a relief for Emma Jones, who's not scored as many in the last few balls. She's still going at a nice rate, 22 from 16. All fielders sitting on the ring.
You mentioned Bess Heath. So in Durham's last match against Somerset, the partnership between these two has come up. Went to a super over. Somerset made 8, so it was 9 to win. Bess Heath has taken strike against the off-spin of Charlie D. She's won in 3 shots, all of which were reverse sweeps. I loved it. Taking the leading edge, and that's gone over the head of backward point. Franklin is so quick between the wickets. He's able to make it back for 2.
Yeah, I watched that back. I got a notification on Instagram to say Somerset have gone live on Instagram. I thought, what on earth is going on here? And then I tuned in, and I can see all of the players that obviously aren't playing at the time from other counties have joined to watch as well. And yeah, back-to-back boundaries, back-to-back reverse sweeps.
Over cover again. They might be able to intercept that. Who am I kidding? Skips on, 4 more. This has been a very fine over for Surrey. 11 off it, 1 ball remains. It's exactly what the home team needed.
Yeah, you're right, Cam, it really is, especially after that over. Previously, they only went for 4. Boundaries seem to be drying up, but a bit more rhythm coming back into the Surrey side now.
Cuts, that's going to be 4. Don't bother moving.
That's the shot of the day for me so far. That's pure timing. Backward point is very backward of, just because the ball is coming on so quickly to the batters that actually it is really challenging that thick outside edge. But that does mean if you beat them on their left-hand side, then you get full value for your shot, and that's what she's got there. Franklin moves to 44 from 28 at the end of the 10th over. Surrey a 91 for 2.
Franklin is playing a little gem here. She's racing along now. Really setting the tone for this innings. That 180 score, outside me and you came to together, is looking spot on at the moment.
It's like we're know what we're talking about.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing when it all comes together.
The listeners might think otherwise, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
We are, well, fingers crossed. If you're not enjoying listening to me and Kirstie, I've got really bad news for you, because we are going to be on all day. But we are also hoping to get Emily Windsor of Durham on for a few overs, at least the final 5 overs of this innings. But we were, well, the difficulty in arranging that is because obviously as a player she goes into PMOA, so then she's no longer allowed her phone.
She's walking around the boundary. What are you talking about, PMOA?
Goodness me, well, she lied to me. That's what I've learned from there. She's
Let's
lied to
hope
me.
anti-corruption aren't here, hey?
Right, so change of bowling. Sophia Turner into the attack. Short pulled. 4 more. Surrey are on a roll here.
Not one spectator moved there. I think they were just willing to take the hit. I mean, it didn't come at them too fast, but it's a hard ball. Picked up that length well. It's not got up massively, but Jones has kept her head nice and still and got her hands through the ball. Square leg is inside the ring.
That's very wide. I think Durham will be pretty pleased to see that ball just go for 1.
For a minute there, when you said if you're bored of listening to me and Kirstie, I thought you were going to say you can go and switch off and go somewhere else. I thought, don't do that.
I'll never do that. We keep the listeners here, listeners and viewers here at Guildford. I'll have a stretch. There's a wide ball. There is another Surrey game going on at the moment, but I'm not interested. Don't know what it is.
No, it's a low-key game, I think. Also, I don't know if you just noticed that, but the standing umpire has a ginormous wingspan. Wow!
That's unplayable. Well, I don't know what you were going to say. I wasn't expecting it.
Sorry, the adjective of ginormous is... I don't think there's anything else I can say. I mean, he's a tall man, but that wingspan on the screen, it was like he was touching either side of the tram lines, easily.
Well,
Fantastic.
now I'm desperate for another wide to be bowled, so I need to see this wingspan in action. Player to miss. Go on, umps.
No, that's not within the spirit of the game to win on
That is
a
not
wide.
within the spirit of what me and Kirstie from the commentary gantry want.
Celebrating wides, what on earth is a welcome to? I'm celebrating umpires, that's all I'll say.
Exactly. Well, cut off the back foot from Jones. If Turner's able to just sneak out of this over with a single or a dot ball, Turner will be very pleased. The first ball of the over went for 4. So to kind of get out the back end of it with only conceding 4 or 5 more would be a good result. And there is the dot ball. So, after 11 overs, the score is 99 for 2. The run rate is exactly 9. And there are 9 overs remaining. Emma Jones on 29, Phoebe Franklin 45.
All the 9s. 99, the run rate of 9, 9 overs remaining.
And a massive wingspan from the umpire. What a day.
What a day.
Right, change of bowling, as is customary, from the pavilion end. Catherine Fraser is going to be returning to the attack. She opened the bowling from this end. Her first over went for 10. Jones on strike. No, Franklin on strike, just waiting for the scoreboard to catch up. It will tick over in a second. 4 fielders out on the boundary, long off, long on. Cow corner, deep square leg. Fraser from round the wicket. That's straight from Jones. It'll just be 1 run. Goes back to your earlier comments about to this field. If Fraser bowls tightly, Surrey 100 comes up of 67 deliveries. Where are the Surrey batters' boundary options. We've just seen, all in the same motion, the fielders on the ring on the offside of Durham shift squarer to Franklin. That's why, well, bit of confusion in the middle, but Surrey are able to take a pretty comfortable single in the end.
Yeah, and I think what Durham are trying to do is say to Surrey, we're happy for you to score on the onside, so we'll have our 4 boundary riders out. So we've got deep backward square, we've got mid-wicket. I'd probably say mid-wicket needs to come a little bit straighter, actually, as the bowlers come around the wicket. Long on and long off.
Cuts. That's a dot ball. It's a good result for Durham there.
So your only boundary option is to get outside the line and either play it through the offside.
That's very full, driven, well fielded at cover, but won't be able to prevent the single.
Which is very much what Surrey are doing here. So they really want to score their boundaries through that cover region. So Durham have got a key role to play in the field, this offside field, in terms of making sure that they are impenetrable on that offside. And that's just the element of the game that I think Phoebe's not been successful in today, just trying to run it off the face. She's been successful when she's hit through the ball, hit through the line.
That's full, and that's hit through the line, and that skips on for 4, and that is Phoebe Franklin's 50. Of 33 deliveries, she's batted wonderfully well today. Given an opportunity, up at number 3 in the order, she's risen to the occasion. So first 50 in a little while. She didn't make one last season, had a quiet year with the bat. But after a quiet start to this season, this innings will mean a world both to her and her team.
Yeah, and this Surrey batting order bat really deep as well, so there'll be every confidence in every batter that's coming out to the crease today that they can go and make a really decent contribution.
Change of bowling. Katie Levick returns to the attack. Emma Jones has gone for an almighty heave there. After trying to see a replay, she stepped all the way across her stumps and decided she was going to pull that, I think, from about 20 minutes ago. Scamper through for 1.
Yeah, she definitely signposted that she was going to hop outside off stump, and Katie Levick said, yeah, be my guest and I'm just going to follow you and I'm going to bowl a dot and you're going to look silly, and that is exactly what she did.
Edged. Chase on for short third. Does that reach the boundary edge? No, Durham do well to cut that off. 2 runs added to the total. It's been interesting that just how strong Franklin has been straight down the ground. That's a beautiful shot. 1 bounce out to the cover sweeper, but it deserved more.
It did. That was Danny White-esque, wasn't it?
Running down the wicket, over cover. I think if you hit the ball over cover with enough power for it to reach the boundary, you should be automatically given 4. That's my new rule of cricket.
I agree.
It's a swing and a miss. Got missed by all parties. Bess Heath unable to gather cleanly. And the throw into Bess Heath goes over Bess Heath. So a bit of a messy moment of cricket, but what can you do? That's gone straight up, but it could fall safely. Goodness me. That ball has landed in the middle of 3 Durham fielders. There was absolutely nothing they could do. But as it happens, 1 more run to the total, and after 13 overs, the score is 111 for 2.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Katie Levick's figures here. So she's bowled 3 overs, 1 wicket for 16 runs. I don't think she's been taken for a boundary at all. That could be a bold statement. Bear with me and I will verify that for you. Let me just fact check my own information. No, her first over, she was hit for 2 back-to-back boundaries, but since then has not conceded a boundary in her 18 balls.
She's doing a very fine job for her team. Maddie Villiers back into the attack. Swept from Franklin. It's found a little bit of a gap. They might take on the arm. They do. Can get back for 2. So Villiers coming round the wicket. There's 4 fielders in the ring on the offside, coming from cover backwards. Cover point to point, a short third. Franklin doesn't find a gap, but it does squeeze through for 1 more run.
There's a really good partnership here from Jones and Franklin, so I think it's 81 now. We all know partnerships are so key to putting on a good total.
Jones steps across again. Fails to make contact, but plan is clear. She was trying to target that big expanse behind square on the leg side.
We're keen to get some feedback from the Durham players in terms of that's really well run there by Emma Jones. In terms of how happy they are with their fielding performance so far, so yes, they have stopped a lot of balls, but actually they have fumbled a fair few, and Surrey have been so quick to punish them for that. Now, I know the Surrey side will have fielding feedback.
It's bunted up to long off, evades the reach of Armitage at cover, so just 1 run.
So the Surrey side, and if it's still Tom Lister who leads with the fielding. It's just played down the ground for 1, fielded by extra cover. Yeah, so the fielding coach will look at how many runs players have saved, how many runs players have conceded, how many times you've touched the ball, how many times you've picked the ball up cleanly, all sorts of facts and figures. I don't know if Durham do that, but if they do, it would be interesting to see. Now, this outfield is very dry and very, very bobbly, as you kind of alluded to at the start, so it's not easy. So actually maybe they're kind of just giving themselves a bit of grace and saying we're stopping the ball and it's not going for 4, but in an ideal world they'd be picking the ball up cleanly.
So 6 overs to go. The score is 119 for 2. Lauren Filer is going to finish her set of 4 overs. She's bowled a good pace so far. 3 overs for 25 runs. I was told, so in terms of the analytics side of preparations, someone was telling me how Surrey or South East Stars, or teams in general, will often set a boundary specific to their opponents. Is that something you recognise? If opponents have players who hit in certain areas, they want to make that part of the ground bigger or smaller to kind of emphasise strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, and I think that plays into your home team advantage, especially as South East Stars. We did that a lot at Beckenham. There was one game in particular against Western Storm.
Edged, caught. Franklin just looking to use the pace of Filer and guide that down to the deep 3rd boundary, but finds the hands of short third instead, and a very fine innings comes to an end. Franklin goes for 56 or 40 deliveries.
Yeah, very well batted. Unfortunate to get out. Good grab actually. That's come at short third quickly. It's effectively playing as a slip there. The ball's come on so quickly. Good hands taken in front of the face. Takes the hard catch, doesn't really take the follow-up catch when she throws it in the air to celebrate, but we'll forgive her for that. And coming to the crease is Alice Davidson-Richards, who I believe will leave the squad tonight and go and join the England ODI squad. So if successful today and Surrey win today, I believe would be unavailable on Monday.
Oh, I get you now. I was wondering why that was such a... You said it was such mystery and intrigue.
Ooh la la.
We do have... Well, it's more of a problem for Durham then. If Durham were to win, the finals day is in Somerset on Monday. So they'll be putting in some serious miles on various motorways.
a bank holiday weekend as well. Woof.
So you're going to imagine, well, Emily Windsor is lurking. She's going to be joining us, and she can tell us exactly what the logistical plans were, which I imagine what she wanted to come into commentary to do, to talk about how you drive around the country when navigating the domestic calendar, as opposed to the match itself.
Yeah, operations.
Davidson Richards on strike. That's a wonderfully solid forward defensive. If I was a teammate, I'd feel inspired there. Safe.
She is a fortress, to be fair. Yeah, so yeah, the point I was making was I don't know if England would release her and say, yes, go play those T20 finals, your team needs you, or if Lottie would say, no, no, you're with me, come with me. Oh, it's some lovely carry there from Laurie Filer.
That's really lifted. Beth Heath taking it, fingers pointing up. When is, let me do some calendar research. When is that first ODI between England and the West Indies? It's on there's loads of time. It's a week today. I vote let her play.
All in favour, say aye.
That's slashed over backward point. That could run away for 4, and it's intercepted on the boundary rope.
It's probably important to highlight as well that actually we haven't even finished the first half of the game yet, so we're really hedging our bets that we'll be in Somerset on Monday playing 2 games.
The name of the game. What a... It often makes me laugh when commentating on the men's stream in particular. A Yorkshire friend and fan of mine was messaging me last week about how biased it was towards Surrey, and then I also know that from Surrey's perspective, we get told it's not biased enough. It's a tightrope we have to navigate, but we'll manage from time to time.
It's really hard when your friends are playing as well.
So are you saying you just like Surrey more than Durham? Is this where we're getting to?
Yes.
Swing and miss. Well, when Emily comes on commentary, I'm going to start supporting Durham. That's how I'm cheap. I'm not easily bought.
Yeah.
It's a very good over here from Filer. Just 2 runs off it and the wicket of Franklin. I think Surrey won't be too disheartened if this ball passes without event. Kind of got the star bowler out the way. You can really attack these remaining 5 overs. She goes for the ramp.
We've still not seen that widespread.
We haven't seen that wingspan from the umpire, which is a real shame. But a very fine over and fine set of 4 overs from Lauren Filer comes to a close after, well, lost the scorecard now, but when I get it back, I can tell you back. After 15 overs, the score is 121 for 3. We're going to have a quick change in the commentary box. Kirstie is going to make way for Durham's Emily Windsor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, Emily? How was your day? How was your travel down from Durham been to sunny Guildford?
Well, you know what? I'm not the one to ask about how the travel was from Durham to sunny Guildford, because I was actually home for a little bit down south. So I'm from Taunton, so it's a nice 40-minute drive up to meet the girls for me. But yeah, they came down yesterday. Would have been a long one, but raring to go today.
Big full toss, and that's 4 runs. I think that's probably +2 for Durham there, actually. Just slipping slightly from Fraser. That's struck away by Emma Jones.
It looks a belt and pitch to bat on, though, I can tell you that.
Jones across the stumps, pulls the ball out to deep square leg. So you've been down back home on the south coast, because fill me on the details, but I know you're coming back to fitness at the moment. You've had quite a major surgery recently. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm 2 days off the crutches, which is good, so I'm moving a lot better now. I was actually thinking how I'd get up here if I was still on crutches, so thankfully I'm not. But yeah, recovery's long and slow, but we'll get there. But just nice to be back around the group today and see the girls, hopefully from a Durham perspective, get a win. But I'm sure a lot of our listeners on the Surrey stream, I've heard about the Surrey bias. I feel like I can balance that out, surely.
It's all we need. I don't think I was meant to publicly recognise any implicit Surrey bias. I think that's meant to be a secret of sorts.
Well, at least I've got a quarter of the innings to balance it out.
Fraser into Emma Jones. That's a wonderful shot. Gave herself room and slapped the ball over cover. That's 4 more. Very fine over for Surrey so far. 10 off it with 2 to go.
Yeah, Jones has a bit of a licence here, doesn't she? That partnership between Franklin and her have sort of earned them the right to sort of go hard, and as you'd expect in these last 5.
Off she goes again. Stepping across the offside. Fraser follows her. Jones, hands really quick through the ball, lifts it over cover.
Yeah, it's slightly downhill as well, isn't it? To the left, it seems like a good option against the off spinner coming round the wicket. Shorter boundary as well as we look, and executed nicely this by Jones.
Will you have played here at all yourself? I know Kirstie's played here regularly for South East Stars and Surrey in the past.
I've played here once or twice in the regional era.
Fraser over the wicket, but the same result. And that's 50 for Emma Jones off 35 balls. It's been a wonderful innings and a wonderful over for Surrey. 4 boundaries off it. That has been given a real impetus to the back end of this Surrey innings. After 16 overs, the score, well, when it updates, will be 139 for 3.
Yeah, costly over that from Fraser, but executed nicely from Emma Jones. It was quite clear what her plan was there, and there was 2 fielders sat on the ring, but she's timing it pretty nicely, and I think that's the nature of this pitch for me. I think anything that you put your hands through just seems to race away, even if you don't time it. If you get thick outside edge, it runs away, so you really get value for your shots. So yeah, Durham have a bit of work to do to restrict here, which is why Holly Armitage has turned to Katie Levick, one of the leading wicket takers ever domestically in women's cricket.
Well, I know you won't have had an opportunity to play under Armitage yourself, but just having been around the group, her reputation is as an outstanding captain. I can't speak all of a sudden, which is a shame. And we noticed it when we've seen Durham playing against Surrey this year, just how proactive she is with her bowling changes. Straight from Davidson Richards. Will that go away for 4? No. Just the 1 run. What's it been like to kind of be around the group and kind of play under her, or be under her, if not play under her, as it were?
Yeah, she brings a real calmness, I think, as captain, and she's very clear what she wants to do, and she has a really good ability to keep the group together. I think that's a strength I've seen of this group, is it's a real team, and out there, as you said, she's clearly very proactive, very knowledgeable about the game, and yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about her when I was moving up here as a leader, so yeah, to see her in action and hopefully play with her soon.
Jones steps across, and she's found that cover region again. That's 4 more to Jones. She's really gone into 5th gear here. Surrey are racing along. Will Durham be too dissuaded by his flurry of runs? It looks like a very good pitch. The outfield is so quick. Anything under 180, 200 feels chaseable?
Yeah, I think so. As I said, the pitch has got a lot going for it in terms of from a batting point of view, and it's very hard to defend. This outfield's lightning fast, so obviously in the women's game you have 4 outs, so there's always that area of the field you can access, but it's going to be about being really smart about when to go through the gears, which I think Emma Jones has done nicely here.
Jones is kind of gone for plan A now, which is stepping across the stumps, aiming for that leg side, and then if the bowler follows her, kind of whipping her hands through it, through cover. It's working well, almost every ball. That was just 1 run out to deep mid wicket. Levick to finish her 4 overs. She managed to sneak through a dot, so 17 gone, 147 for 3.
Yeah, I'm hoping sort of in the context of this that it's a ground that's hard to defend on. Hopefully from a Durham perspective, if they can get a batter in, I think as you've seen from the likes of Franklin and Jones, when they were in, they could almost score freely where they want. So it's going to be about someone in that Durham lineup holding their hand up and doing that in the chase, and obviously we've got some pretty exciting batters to come out and play. You've got obviously the captain herself, Holly Armitage, Maddie Villiers, who's in great form at the moment, and Bess Heath, who under pressure in the super over of the previous game against Somerset saw the side home. So that's just the top 3 we're looking at, but there's players that are more than capable of going on to get a big one. I think chasing a big total like that, that's so important.
Another change bowling. Phoebe Turner is bowling from the pavilion end. That is wonderful. And it's 6. It's almost taken out about 6 children as well. But Davison Richards... Oh, Emma Jones, I beg your pardon. How could I think it was anyone else when it was going over cover? Jones is playing an absolutely beautiful innings at the moment. And Phoebe Turner, I don't think that she bowled... There was too much wrong with that delivery. It's flown for 6.
Tell you what, those young girls that are loving it down there watching this batting display have found themselves at a deep extra cover, which is probably a place I'd avoid right now, but they seem to be, they're all chasing after the ball. It's like, do you know, in football where they when they're like under 7 and wherever the ball is, the players are. That seems to be where the crowd is at the moment and where the ball is flying to.
We have a deep cover in place now to Jones. And she goes for the reverse, and well, it almost results in a wicket, and I'll be tempted if I was Jones to keep, I know there's a fielder there now, but just to keep going. The boundary out there is so short.
And that's where we talk about the proactive captaincy from Holly Armitage. Just by her changing that fielding position has made Emma Jones do something different, and she was playing that so nicely. Even the fielders out there, how hard she was hitting it, she'd probably still split it. So again, smart captaincy from Armitage, making Jones change up her game of something that was working so effectively.
Change up from Turner, pace off, and Jones can only bunt the ball into the leg side for 1 run. Were you down? Was the Super Over win against Somerset at Taunton, or was it up at Durham?
It was a Somerset hosted game, but it was in Exmouth.
Yes, I did know
Durham
this.
could not have travelled any further for that fixture.
So I take it you took what's the word? You've got to take the wins, and if you didn't have to go all the way down, did you watch that one on the stream? Keep up to date with it?
There was actually no stream, but I didn't
Oh
go
my
down. I was
goodness
watching
me.
it ball by ball on Play Cricket, so it was traumatic actually.
It's a gentle sweep from Davison Richards. That ball has kept on rolling and rolling and rolling. It wasn't making any noise, so I assumed at some point it'd be cut off, but the outfield here is so quick. Davison Richards gets a very gentle fall. Sorry, I wanted to talk about that win because I didn't realise just how remarkable it was. Somerset 9 down in the final over, needed 3 to win. I believe it was Catherine Fraser who bowled the final over, kept Somerset just to 2.
Also, the impressive part of it as well is I think Somerset were 50 for none off their power play, like got off to a complete flyer, and credit to the Durham spinners, Levick, Villiers and Fraser brought it back really nicely through the middle to get to that. But yeah, it was honestly an unbelievable win, and then obviously to win the Super Over in the way that they did, it was pretty special for the girls, and that's why they're relishing being here.
Jones goes high, long on settles, but it is ultimately 6. A fantastic effort from Maddie Villiers. Davison Richards gets just enough on it. Surrey's kind of powering. Surrey continue to power on towards the end. After 18 overs, just 12 balls remain. The score is 164 for 8. For 8 for 3.
Yeah, I think that though over for me illustrates what a good pitch it is. You've got a bowler that's bowled length, hit through it, smashed it over their head for 6. Didn't in time sweep shot off Phoebe Turner's slower ball, and it somehow trickled to the bigger boundary of the 2, did I say, for 4. So could be quite hard to defend later, but these last 2 overs are massively important for me. I think from a Durham perspective, under 180, I think we'll be relatively happy on a pitch like this. Obviously it's still a massive chase, and that'll be runs on the board in a quarter-final. Obviously there's pressure, so from a Surrey perspective they've obviously got that, but if these last 2 overs, say Durham pick up a couple of wickets, keep it under 180, they've got a bit of momentum as well going into that next innings. But Surrey also have the opportunity with wickets in hand to put a big total.
Jones goes for the reverse and gets it. She's hit that in front of square. That is a remarkable shot. Alice Davison Richards has rolled her shoulders back in laughter when she's gone to chat to her mate in the middle.
I want her back. Everything that touches at the moment just races away, doesn't it? She's striking it beautifully. 70 or 42 deliveries.
Well, Sophia Turner back into the attack, but anyone who's bowling to Jones at the moment is not enjoying it. Able to sneak a dot ball in there. How have the team and the players found this new competition? Because it is kind of been reinstated, it's been away for years, if not decades. Knockout competition getting a thumbs up from the group?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's exciting, isn't it? Obviously, coming in at a later set, I think that might have hit her on the helmet, which is why I heard a little clonk and thought the physio might need to check. The famous 5 questions.
What are the 5 questions?
I could tell you in the physio, you basically have to ask 5 obvious questions that people would get. So often it's like, what date it is today? But
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't know that. So I, as a physio, sometimes when I ask them, I'm like, what date is it? And then I'm like looking at my watch to be like, oh, actually, what is the answer? Like, where are we? Like, how many runs you on? What was the first innings score? Just obvious questions. So yeah, I'm sure Emma Jones will be like, she's fine there. But
do you have to get all 5 right, or can you get 4 out of 5?
I think you get 4 out of 5.
Okay.
If it was like a really obvious question though that they got wrong, I'd be slightly suspicious. But I'd probably then just ask another one.
Keep bang. Right, sorry, to go back to the knockout competition, how have the group been finding it?
Yeah, I think it's been good. Obviously the games have come thick and fast, and it's almost weird, isn't it, because as a tier 1 team you come in later. So from that point of view, I think they've played 2 games to get to a quarter-final stage. So obviously when you get to the Vitality Blast, you've obviously got more games, more momentum to build. But I think it's just exciting seeing the tier 1 teams playing the tier 2 teams, and potentially obviously them making the final. But I don't know about you guys, but Durham drew basically at all tier 1 to make the final. It'd be nice obviously to play a tier 2 team, not just because you think you're going to beat them easier, it's more just that exposure, see where the level's at, see, I guess, that added excitement.
That's 6.
That's excitement, isn't it?
She passed those 5 tests. She passed those 5 questions comfortably. Davison Richards has lifted her hands up in the air. She's Emma Jones's biggest fan at the moment. 50 partnership between these two have come up. Davison Richards on 15.
Yeah, she's loving life at the other end, isn't she? To be fair, if your partner's hitting it as well as that, Alice Davison Richards probably going, mate, you have to strike. You belt it.
Well, Jones is in full flow here. Sneaks through. Right, the sound of Jones's bat has been phenomenal. It's such a clean, crisp crack as that flew over the deep mid-wicket boundary.
Yeah, and interestingly actually in this competition, I don't know if you know this, but they're different balls. So we usually play with the Kookaburra ball, and they're trialling a Newbury white ball to see if they swing for longer in this competition, but they are like a rock.
I love stuff like this. So wait, so have we used Newbury balls before? I remember years ago, hearing Melissa Story, who does a lot of commentary for the BBC, talk about using the Tiflex ball. Years gone by, I think when she was playing for Gloucestershire.
So we've only used in professional cricket Kookaburras.
Cuts, that's 4 more. Jones's onslaught continues and she moves on to 80 with 7 balls remaining of the innings.
Yeah, so it's a completely new thing to try these Newbury balls just in this competition. Obviously I've not been out there to play with it, but everyone taught, like when the ball, I don't know if you remember back right at first delivery of the game, I think Bryony Smith was facing off Lauren Finer and she pulled one and it sounded like she didn't time it. But actually, I'm sat alongside Susie Bates and she was like, no, it's the ball, because it just makes a bit more of a, I don't know, like a thud off the bat. It's not quite a soft Kookaburra turf.
Pulled deep mid-wickets. Briefly interested. The result is just 1 run. I think Surrey will be very happy with that, because it means Jones keeps the strike with 1 over remaining. Scores 179 for 3.
Yeah, I think obviously I said under 180 at that point, but that was a big over, wasn't it? What was it? 15 runs from it, from a Surrey perspective, and this has been an absolutely phenomenal knock from Emma Jones. 81 off 47.
Well, the last 2 overs have gone for 17 and 15, so that's 32 of the previous 2 overs. Looks like Maddie Villiers is going to bowl the 20th and final over. She does have a much bigger leg side boundary to play with here, but Jones had been targeting that kind of cover side of the ground, giving herself, well, I said she was giving herself room, that's not true. She was walking across her stumps, the bowler would follow her, and then she'd still manage to get the ball up and over cover.
Yeah, it just seems to be so much space, doesn't it? And I think, as we say, we'll see when Durham come out to bat. But I just think it's a pitch as well, when you've got a big chase and a big total to go after. As a batting unit, Durham don't need to be reckless, because you get rewards for good shots on this, and you actually get rewards for some thick outside edges that fly away for 4. So, yeah, big last over. Let's buckle up here. We're in the game, I reckon.
Big full toss. Davison Richards sprints down to nab the strike. Jones looks over to the square leg umpire, asking if that might have been a no ball.
I swear a full toss is a good ball.
Yeah.
I see more wickets from full tosses than anything else. Everyone's like, oh, it's a full toss, let's go for 6. But any lengthy bowl to Jones, he's sending that. Full toss or 1, Durham will take that.
This is something that I really want to message the people at Crickfiz and be like, what's the strike rate of a full toss, and is it better than any other ball? That's so firmly struck. That's 4. Dead straight. And for a moment I was questioning Davison Richards' decision to scamper down to the other end and take Jones off strike, but with batting like that, why wouldn't she get down to the right end?
Yeah, again, that's a good shot, but I think from Maddie Villiers' point of view, you won't mind that. She's got 2 fielders out, long off and long on, so she wants to get Alice Davison Richards hitting there.
That's high. Should be caught by long on. Is caught by long on. Lauren Filer takes a comfortable catch. Davison Richards is forced to depart, so 3 balls remain. Durham have their 4th wicket of the innings.
Yeah, importantly as well from this stage, a wicket is a dot ball, so a good catch that from Filer. Nice bit of bowling from Maddie Villiers, just bowling to her field. The fielder's out straight, and Filer, the big 6-foot fast bowler, got a Durham cap today, which is a lovely moment. Takes the catch.
So we have Clear Moore coming in to face the final 3 balls of the over. So sorry that passed me by. That should have come into my match research. This is Filer's debut for Durham.
Yeah, obviously she's been out injured, and England have been managing her through a bit of a knee injury, so this is her first. She played actually in an England Development 11 game earlier this week as her first game run out for the summer, and then thankfully for us she's not selected in the England squad, so she's can get more game time, and she's made her debut for us today, which again, someone like her, excited to have in our ranks, and a massive threat.
And Moore goes for about 7 sweeps at once. I think she initially went for the reverse. Villiers followed her, but the result was a wide ball, so we can do it all again.
Maddie's asking the question there as well, isn't she? Because she thought she's going to change to a left-hander. So, tough that for Villiers.
1 run brings Jones back on strike for the last 2 balls of the innings. I remember seeing Filer down at Beckenham when the one-day match between these two happened. You mentioned Susie Bates is here to send overseas players aren't allowed to play in this competition. I'm just thinking, I can't stop thinking about the Owls on the bus. The non-playing Owls on the bus. Jones, that's phenomenal. The field has been moved out to deep extra cover to prevent her playing that shot over cover that she's been doing so well, and this time she just waits on it a bit longer and cuts it square of the wicket. That's 4 more.
Also sounded like she didn't time that one either. Anything that back touch, it turns to gold at the moment.
It's the Newbury balls. Last ball of the over, 4 more. Surrey finish on 194, 88 of which belong to Emma Jones, who has played the most wonderful innings down here at Guildford. She's been proactive, moving around the crease, targeting that short boundary that's to our left from here at the pavilion end. And although it's runs on the board, well, I think both sides will potentially shake hands on that. Runs on the board for Surrey, but Durham would have seen just how easily runs can come here at Guildford.
Yeah, I genuinely believe it's going to be hard to defend if a batter gets set like Emma Jones did. I think that's not taking anything away from Emma Jones there, but that was a fabulous knock, and I'm sure that'll be applauded by both the crowd and her teammates as she walked off. But Durham needs someone to match that now. Someone in that dressing room needs to hold their hands up and go, okay, I'm not just going to get 88, I'm going to get 100 and see the team home. So, and as I said, there's a lot of potential in that dressing room to do that, and they need to walk off the field now with the bars about them and believe that they can chase this, because, as I said, as a bowling unit, a bit of pace on the ball from some of the Durham seamers, the ball can fly away and be hard to defend. So I think it's in the balance, but I think for me the power play is probably going to be crucial. If Surrey pick up early wickets, that's probably going to stem Durham's run flow, and you almost can't stem your run flow when you're chasing 194. But if Durham can get a player in, they've got to go in, go big and win it.
Well, that's the halfway point here at Woodbridge Road in Guildford. Surrey 194 for 4. Emma Jones, the star of the show, of 88 not out. Maddie Villiers 2 for 42. Katie Levick and Lauren Filer, very impressive for their 1 for 25 and 1 for 27 apiece. We'll be back in 10 minutes for the run chase.
gets underway again at 4 o'clock. Just to say again, there's a ball flying around, which is a very fast outfield. Do be careful with children on the boundary ring. Just be careful as the ball is flying around a little bit today. Thanks very much. Umpires Neil Baton and Mark Newell are out and ready. Surrey team coming out. Beth Heath and Holly Armitage will get things underway. Durham looks to chase going down. 195 they need to win this one to get through to the semi-finals. Taunton on Monday. Will open the bowling from the railway.
Welcome back to Guildford, where Durham's run chase of 194 is underway. All action to begin with. Callie Moore has the new ball in hand. It's quite dramatically fielded out on the cover point boundary. Durham up and away. Bess Heath on strike. Keep an eye out for her reverse sweeps. 3 of them came against Charlie Dean's super over. Durham's 3rd round win against Somerset. Kirstie White's back with me. The sun's come out. Everything's wonderful.
Yeah, so it is. Emma Jones picking up where she left off with the bat in the field, throwing herself around, getting about a bit. Yeah, keep your eyes out for this Bess Heath reverse sweep. That's not as easy to say as it sounds. Short third is very fine for that reason, I think. Danny Gregory.
Durham skipper Holly Armitage off the mark herself. Oh, wild throw from Emma Jones there. Beats Kira Chatley, but Tilly Coleman does the backing up. Quite a sedate start so far. 4 runs off the first 3 balls. Scoring shots on each occasion.
First time opening bowling actually for Callie Moore. So clear plan here for the batters on strike. Interesting bowling into the batter with a shorter boundary on the onside. Most off spinners tend to bowl from the pavilion end just because there's a longer boundary on the onside, but Bryony Smith backing Callie Moore. She's a very natural turner of the ball actually, so she bowls in the channel and aims to target that off stump of the line.
That has been cut for 4 through mid-off. It's an extraordinary shot. Moore potentially getting a little bit greedy, just wary of that short boundary. Went short and wide. Bess Heath has played the sort of shot you're not going to see very often. That brings to an end the opening over. 8 off it. We wait to see. Well, it looks like we're going to have Tilly Coleman from the pavilion end.
Double spin. So we were spoilt with some flat pulls straight past the bowler in the first innings, and now we've been spoilt by a straight cut,
straight
she said. Yeah.
Lesser seen.
Very lesser seen.
Double spin for Surrey. Coleman definitely has opened the bowling. previous matches. She kind of burst onto the scene last year. I always find it quite funny when like a teenager bursts onto the scene, because I don't think they can do anything else, because no one knew who they were the year before. They were doing GCSEs.
Some strange stats around Tilly Coleman last year. Notorious for picking up a wicket in her first over.
That's pulled, and Emma Jones is going to set off after it. She'll do very well to keep it in, and she doesn't do very well. That's a test of her honesty there. There was a camera on her. I reckon if there's no camera there, she picks the ball up, and we carry on for 2 runs. But first up ball of Coleman's over goes for 4.
Gosh, that pigeon almost took my head off then.
That was quick.
Wasn't it?
That was a quick drive-by from Mr. Pigeon. Oh, Bess Heath has gone for a run. That could be out.
And
it is out.
Wow. Wicket in the first over, not by the bowler.
That is dead eye from Davidson Richards, and I don't really know where Bess Heath was going. Holly Armitage pushed the ball up to mid-on. Bess Heath set off at a canter. Armitage sent her back immediately.
That's a big wicket for Surrey. Alice dead-eyed Davidson Richards. I love that.
See the replay here.
She had all 3 to hit. I mean, she's not going to miss from there, is she? Come on.
I do often wonder, at what point does a missed run-out fall into the same bracket as like a dropped catch?
Ooh.
Where a dropped catch will linger over you for the rest of the day, but if you don't hit the stumps, does that... I think we're still giving Davidson Richards immense credit there.
Oh no, it was fantastic. The speed at which she's picked up and released the ball is what's got the wicket here. So she's no sooner got the ball in her hand that she's released it, and with some speed taken out those stumps. Look how much she's disturbed the stumps with the throw. Scrambling Bess Heath. No chance against that arm from Richards.
I feel like Bess Heath must have heard something. Or has Armitage yes-no'd her? Because she's got her head down and sprinted. She knew what was happening was going to be a quick run, unless she thought maybe that long on was out and she might be able to get back for 2.
I can only think she thought long on was out, or she's managed to just pick the pocket, but it was so close and tight to her as she's run past the ball. There was no way that it was ever going to be a 1.
Well, it doesn't prevent Durham from taking a quick single off the following delivery. It's reminded me a little bit, and this is a bit cruel, it's reminded me when you used to play Brian Lara cricket and hit the wrong button, and you set off and then you go, oh, no. I think it was circled to get back. Surrey on the board. Fantastic start for the home side. Maddie Villiers now on strike. Appeal for LBW.
I think that's just missing leg. Maddie Villiers has played a fair bit of cricket here, so when she was with the Surrey Stars in the KSL days, she played a fair bit here, bowled a fair bit as well, so she knows what these wickets play like.
She's also had a very fine year with the bats as well. Just the 1 half century, an unbeaten 65 against Warwickshire. Another couple of 40s. And only 1 single figure score out of about 9. So she's made a lot of starts. That's an almost perfect start for Surrey after 2 overs. The score is 13 for 1.
Breath of fresh air, those 2 first overs for Surrey in terms of extras. Been a bit of a nemesis, the monkey on the shoulder actually for Surrey. So to start those first 2 overs without conceding any extras will be a big tick in the column. Obviously it's your spinners, so you expect them to have a little bit more control, not swinging ball. However, saying that, we have a change of bowling. Alexa Stonehouse coming into the attack for the Railway end.
Yeah, I think if I was Bryony Smith or any opposing captain of Holly Armitage, I'd get quite competitive. I'd be wanting to make it as many, if not more, bowling changes to show that I can do it as well.
Tam, I want to know how many bowling changes were made in the Durham innings.
So I genuinely tried to count them during the one-day game where there was 50 overs to count through. I got so confused because you've got to keep track of, like, obviously if you're reading the card by ball, the name changes every over, but then you've got to remember, was it the same as 2 overs ago? And I feel like I got up to about 20, but I wouldn't swear by it. Pulled, 4 runs. Easy as you like from Armitage. Short in length from Stonehouse. Wasn't quite that clean sound off the middle of the bat, but Emily Windsor was explaining to us that in this competition they're trialling some new Newbury white balls. Are you across this?
I noticed that when I arrived at the ground today and had to pick up a few balls that had gone stray from some fielding, and I picked up. They are very hard balls. I will admit that they are. You don't want to get hit by one of those. Whoa.
That is exactly what Emily said on commentary as well, that she spoke about just how hard they are to use, and just it feels all cricket balls are hard, but these are even harder than most.
Yeah, one thing I noticed when I picked it up, and I saw the Newbury sign on it, and well, my first observation was I don't think I've ever seen a Newbury ball, so this is new. And the second was actually that the seam isn't very prominent, so it's not a very obvious seam on it. It doesn't kind of protrude from the ball. So I think from a spinner's perspective, you haven't really got much in terms of grip to turn.
Short again. Should be one bounce out to the fielder, deep mid-wicket. Surrey had made a change of field for that delivery. They brought up a sweep from the offside and stuck out 2 in the deep on the leg side boundary. They're going to stay the same for Villiers on strike. I think the idea is these new Newbury balls, they want to see if they swing for longer than the Kookaburra balls.
Well, we certainly saw that Phoebe Turner was swinging the ball, and when I picked them up,
Paul Zubby 4 runs.
Pulled off the hip there from Maddie Villiers. Just raced away for 4. Yeah, what I did notice of the Newbury balls is they were the bowling balls, so the bowlers were going through their bowl throughs, but they were very much shiny. There was a lot of lacquer still on them, whereas the Kookaburras, they lose their lacquer very, very quickly and lose their shine very quickly. So yeah, be interested to see how much they do swing. So are they only using them in this competition, or?
They are only using them in this competition. That's what I was told anyway.
Interesting, yeah.
And so my question would kind of be, Emily was explaining that in the women's game we've always used the white Kookaburra. Kind of English cricket is so synonymous with Duke's balls. Does Duke's make a white ball, and if so, has it ever been used?
I think Duke's, because in Australia they don't use a Duke's, do they?
No.
For red ball, no. It is.
It's a full toss and punished. Davison Richards with a heroic effort amid on.
It was acrobatic, wasn't it? Like a dive roll, that.
I think the adrenaline from the run out was still going. I'd have waved that one on by personally. That's 4 more. Durham's pretty handy start continues. Just 13 off the first 2 overs, but 3 boundaries off Stonehouse's first over. Sees them back up with the rate immediately.
Yeah, just struggling to find her length here, isn't she, Stonehouse? So started a bit short, and now over pitching, being punished for it. I haven't seen a lot of swing actually from Stonehouse, which she does do. So she's the left armour, but she'll swing it back into the batter, so those angles are quite tight on you. Let's have a look at this delivery and see if she's getting much in the way of swing.
All pulled up into the air. Will it land safe? Yes. Courtine Coleman scampering in from short, fine leg. Wasn't quite able to reach it. After 3 overs, 27 for 1.
So what's your favourite ball to bowl with?
I really appreciate that question, Kirstie, because you only ask that question to someone you think's
gets a choice to pick the ball.
Gets a choice, or just like I feel quite complimented there, because it makes me feel like you think I can actually play the sport to a reasonable standard because I care about what I bowl with. We've just had a change in the leagues I play in. We are now fully white ball, so we don't bowl with any red balls.
And what white ball is that?
So I think it's the Duke's one. But this one I'm trying to look it up.
Okay.
I need to look it up. Right, we have a change of bowling. I'm getting distracted. It's Rihanna McDonald Gate from the pavilion end.
Apologies, it's not all about us.
But it could be for 5 minutes.
I wouldn't mind that.
Tell you what, I'm going to message my captain and I'm going to get back to you.
Should be listening.
McDonald Gate does just sneak down the leg side to begin with. He did message me, well, only 20 minutes ago, because he asked me if I was missing this week because I was working or because I was on holiday, which was a loaded message, I must admit.
That feels very loaded.
I said, I'm working. I'll never holiday in the season.
Consider your life choices. Ooh.
That's a fantastic cricket shot.
For a second there, I thought the stumps were going to be the 12th fielder to save that going for 4, but I think even if it did ricochet off the stumps, it probably would have made its way to the boundary, because Villiers has hit that with some might straight back past the bowler. McDonald Gay dives and flays an arm to try and get something on it, which I'm quite glad she didn't actually, because I think it probably would have taken her finger with it. But not a great start here from McDonald Gay.
Full again. This time Chatterjee does the fielding. Extra cover. Lobs it over Chatley. It's the second time today Chatley's been hard done by as the ball's flown over her head from an errant throw in the field. Do we please now have messaged 2 captains just to get a speedy response. Chatterjee been finding a way back into the team now. Well, not back into the team for the first time here at Surrey. This new form, she was away playing for Scotland. The Scotland squad at least for the Women's World Cup over in the UAE. This one we really see. I was speaking to a friend who was kind of referring to this week gone by as the real start of Project Darwin, where you don't have the international players. And this is where the real kind of test of the depth and where the hope that the standard really rises is in these matches as much as it is in that first week where you've got Danny White-Hodge, Sophia Dunkley, and so on and so forth. Well bowled from McDonald Gay. Gets a little bit of shape. They come back for 2. Emma Jones with a sprawling dive across the square. I'm glad she's got those tubey grips on protecting her arms, because that'll be very sore.
Yeah, I think the hips might have taken a beating there for sure. And also your point around this is a real testament of where Project Darwin is leading county cricket in the country, but also this competition, no overseas players are eligible to play. So Susie Bates usually would be playing in the Durham team, ineligible to play today. And in this competition, because it's just for the English and the nationals to play in.
Is that out? It is out. Caught behind, an unusual dismissal where Maddie Villiers has nicked behind, kind of behind the stumps. She's gone to drive, and the ball has gone behind leg stump and through to Kira Chatley behind the stumps. But when it all comes out in the wash, Surrey have their second wicket. Their fine start gets a little bit better.
Yeah, that's really well bowled by McDonald Gay, because she's spotted Villiers moving early outside of leg stump and has followed her, and in doing so has enticed that outside edge. In the meantime, while the drinks have been run out to Surrey, poor 12th has been carrying the drinks bottles and the handle's broken and they've fallen all over the floor, so that was a bit of a disaster as well. Calamity of errors.
Well, we never promise you anything less than action here at Guildford.
This will be the start that Surrey wanted. Wickets will be key in terms of making sure that no partnerships build, and this was a big part of their attack of Hampshire on Saturday. Hampshire got off to a fantastic start, but regular wickets meant that they couldn't really challenge the total that Surrey set.
Go on then, what was your favourite ball to use?
Well, anything that was not swinging, not seaming, and went to the boundary quite quickly, to be honest, as a batter.
That does sounds like quite an interesting, good
And not
good ball.
soft, didn't get soft too soon, you know?
I've really enjoyed how, at the end of the 4th over, 34 for 2, how childish and simply minded the kind of brains of club cricketers are, because we've gone from red ball to white ball, and now because we have a white ball, everyone just decides, oh, let's start whacking it. I don't think there is that much difference. I don't think there's that much of a difference that can be occurring with the same players on the same grounds, playing the same bad standard of cricket, and all of a sudden run rates have gone up to about 5.5. It's ridiculous.
It's a one-day game.
Oh, it's awful. I don't know how to react. It used to be if you went for like kind of high 30s off your 10 overs, you'd go, it's a bit expensive today. Now you come off 1 for 50 off 10, you go, that was good. That's fine.
So were you playing in whites, or were you playing in colours with a red ball?
So it used to be, as of a couple of years ago, it was whites, red ball, and you'd play your limited overs for half the season, and then you'd play time cricket for half the season. Then for the last 2 years, so we have a change of bowling here. Courtine Coleman is going to come from the railway end. I'll get back to the Surrey Championship soon. Don't worry, everyone. Obviously, just turns that ball to the leg side for a single. And then we went limited overs was white ball coloured kit, and the time stuff was still whites and red ball. And this year they're trialling it with just our league and the kind of parallel one, where it's just completely limited overs, so we're just white ball coloured kit forever. It is quite strange. Oh, of course, bowled opportunity. You didn't play too much club cricket, did you? So you'd have played almost all your cricket whiteboard coloured kit.
Well, growing up, so coming through the age groups, yeah, there was red ball and whites, and actually
Uppish cut shot there, but sneaks through. They think about two, but decide against it.
and then I think my first season for Surrey, so 2012, that was in whites. Might have been mid 2, and then we moved into white ball coloured kit.
Short pulls, but that would just be one run out to the sweeper.
So we're doing really well here at bowling to their fields, which is really, really key in the power play. Pretty even in terms of where Surrey were at this stage of the power play as well. Having lost 2 wickets within those 6 overs.
Another dot ball to Surrey.
The majority of the damage coming in the middle and end periods of the first innings for Surrey, which is quite unusual actually. So in the women's game, the majority of the damage tends to be done in the power play, and then you try to maintain strike rate.
Big appeal. The umpire has a look and decides against it. I thought the little twist of the head was going to be a precursor to the finger going up in the air. It would have gone a long way up in the air with how big his wingspan is.
Exactly that.
Poking the sky. Right, after 5 overs, he's 38 for 2. Poor umpire. He hasn't done anything.
Oh, he's given a couple of ones.
Yeah. Who do we have out there today? We have Mark Newell. We also have, I believe it's Neil Bainton. I'll double check that on the name front.
Match referee Sarah Bartlett.
Neil
She used to
Bainton,
be-
indeed.
Sarah Bartlett used to be prolific on the county cricket scene.
Donald Gay, that's turned away into the leg side. The ball's flown. They've gone for 2. There's a big mix up here. It's going to be out. It has to be out. And Mia Rogers, at the end of all that, is the one to go. But a second mix up for Durham, who are hitting self-destruct here. 3 wickets fallen, 2 run-outs.
If you're wondering who were the more confident of the 2 teams, I think that's probably given you your answer, because Surrey in their first innings would have taken that 2 all day long, turned and gone. Just some hesitation, not sure. Oh, Holly Armitage says, no thank you, I'm the informed batter here, you can go. So Mia Rogers makes her way back to the pavilion, head down, no eye contact.
Oh, good luck to Mia Rogers as the 23-year-old recently in the side batter telling kind of Holly Armitage to complete that run. It was always going to be her who had to kind of fall on a sword there.
Gosh, I remember doing that once.
Being what, sending someone their way, being like,
Yeah.
I'm the main person here.
It was Claire Connor.
How are you the kind of senior player in that situation?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay, I thought you told Claire to like get on a bike. See you later,
Well,
Claire.
yeah, no, I did.
So what, come on then, I want to hear this story.
Well, it was way back in the days when there were 2 pitches at Beckenham. So where the Crystal Palace
Yeah.
dome is now in the stand, there was a second pitch there, and it was the Super Fours, and I was playing, I can't remember what our team name was, I think we were the Diamonds, and I'd asked for 2 and she'd said no and I'd said yes.
Was there 2?
Well, I thought so. The England captain at the time did not, and I stuck to my guns.
And she
and I ran her out.
So she buckled, she agreed with you eventually and kind of decided to keep going and agreed to the run.
Yeah, I can't really remember, but my parents always were convinced that's why I never played for England. I'm not sure that's entirely true. I think I was 15 or 16 at the time.
No, so you had the like enthusiasm of youth to fall back on.
Exactly.
Well, that's a lovely tuck off the hip.
Oh, double
Durham.
dive.
We've got a double dive, and we'll have 3 runs. We've got 2 dives and 3 runs.
Love that.
And the crowd's got a warm round of applause there from the Surrey faithful.
Courtine Coleman and Callie Moore.
Love if we are able to get a replay of that. We'll greatly enjoy it.
That's why you hunt in pairs.
Well, we've had 4 deliveries this over and 4 different outcomes. We've had a single that was a run out, a wide, a 2 and a 3. Unfortunately, I do know this terminology. If you have an over where all 6 are different instances, do you know what it's called?
I don't.
Flipped away to the leg side. Now we'll ruin that for this over. It's called a smudger.
Okay.
Yep, I only learned that last year. It's not necessary information. You can continue in your life without knowing it, and it won't inhibit you in any way.
I like that. That's good cricket knowledge.
Well, if you did just hear an enormous bang, there was a slab of sorts that's just fallen behind us. But everything's fine. We're all okay. Apart from Kirstie, she's not okay at the moment.
I might need to have a cardiac screening after that one.
That was quite scary.
Gosh, I'm racing.
Goodness me. I'm surprised play continued there. No one's asked if we're okay.
We're fine, thanks for asking.
Right, focus on the cricket again. What have we got here? 45 for 3. 1 ball remaining of the power play. Emma Marlowe on strike. That's pulled and Emma Jones dives across the square again. I really am fearing for her forearms and elbows here, but then Durham get back for 2. And at the end of the power play, the score is 47 for 3. That required run rate, still can't say that, is now up at 10.5 and over.
I'm not sure how impressed Kirstie, the groundsman, will be with Emma Jones diving on a length. One of his used pitches. But he's certainly not quite as scary as Lee, the groundsman from the Oval.
Oh, I've been shouted at by Lee twice. I think I've only met him twice.
Yeah,
And both
that makes sense. That makes sense.
But it always takes me by surprise because you're walking so far away from the middle of the pitch and somehow you're still on the square. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I didn't think I was. Right, with a change of bowling, Alexa Stonehouse is going to come back into the attack. 13 runs came off her first over, but now outside of the power play, she's able to bowl with a little bit more protection. So we have that fielder at deep extra cover. See, Holly Armitage's influence does occur. Armitage hops over to the offside. So the fielders we have on the boundary are deep mid-wicket, long on. Mid-off is in the ring, but extra cover is out on the boundary's edge. We have a cover point in the ring and a backward point out. So this is an unusual field. Have you seen fields like this before, or am I making this up that this is an unusual field setting? This time it should find Bryony Smith at mid-off. And the field works. Holly Armitage departs, and Surrey's grip on this game gets that little bit tighter. The score's 47 for 4.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what you're alluding to then, because originally what I thought was that there was a long on and a deep extra cover. Sorry, a long off and a deep extra cover, but there wasn't, no. So, yeah, not quite sure what the bowling plan was there, because initially I thought, well, she's going to bowl straight because she's got long on and mid-wicket out. But then with the backward points, so and Alexa Stonehouse is still bowling over the wicket, so usually actually in the middle overs outside of the power play, what the left armer would tend to do is come around the wicket and just change the angle. But no, actually, so I think she's still going to try and bowl full and encourage the drive down the ground, and I think that deep backward point is there for that just slightly wider one where they just throw the hands through potentially.
Right, so new batter for Durham arrives at the crease. Abby Glenn slotted in at number 6. Her and Emma Marlowe have a hell of a job on hand now. And the way we saw runs kind of just drain away during Surrey's innings, where balls would slip through the ring and kind of skittle along to the boundary's edge, that hasn't quite happened so far for Durham, with that one over from Stonehouse which went for 13. But aside from that, Surrey have been really tight in their lines and lengths. Now we return to a more conventional field. We have mid-off, cover, point and short third in the ring. Swing and a miss to begin with. How are your ears after that bang? I'm ringing.
Pardon?
Good, very good. Almost fell for that.
I'm here all day.
That was too quick.
No, my ears are fine. I was just going to say that there's a lot of responsibility on these two young batters' shoulders here, in terms of getting themselves past or close to that total of 190. Well, they're chasing 195. That's what's required to win. So boundaries especially important here. So run rate, can't say it now, you've done it. Required run rate is 11's current run rate is 7. So between Emma Marlowe and Abby Glenn here, one of them really needs to take on the aggressor role. As I'm keen to know why you throw any hands in the air.
Well, I've just discovered something lovely. So I've found the scorecard where you ran out Claire Connor.
Oh, fantastic.
So don't worry, she was only on 50 and well set. You got 25 of 24, so you were going at better than a runner ball.
Bowled by Catherine Brunt.
Yeah, I actually agree with you for running her out here. She was on 50 off 93. Get a move on.
Was it a 50 over game?
Yeah.
Oh, check me out.
But yeah, but you were going run a ball. It's pulled out in. It's the leg side. Be 1 run in the 7th over. Scores 49 for 4. But your favourite umpire with the big wingspan was umpiring that very same day. Neil Bainton.
Wow. 6 degrees of separation, I think that's what they say.
That is wonderful. I've really enjoyed that. That's brought me joy.
Some serious names in those lineups
I was
as
going
well.
to say that. It's amazing going through these kind of Super 4s scorecards. You do kind of have it. It's a who's who of kind of English women's cricket. I guess because there was only 4 teams by definition of the name of the competition.
Yeah, so you
everywhere.
did quite well to if you were in the Super 4s, you were all right.
Danny Gregory's going to have her first bowl of today from the pavilion end. Just so we get away from Kirstie White's plug about how good she used to be.
Used to be.
That's short, just 1 run. Comes off it as it's pulled into the leg side.
No, it really was a fantastic competition, but it took. The Super 4s was in play for a very long time, and then eventually we had the KSL, which is obviously then from there we've had the 100. But it was a long-standing competition with the best 48 players in the country.
It's a wide ball from Gregory, slips down the leg side. Where's that? Just had a scorecard up earlier.
Don't get me started on the old county championships.
Oh, I'd love to get you started on that. We can. Where do you want to start?
5 days, back to back, 50 overs in Cambridge. Time of my life. 16-year-old me.
So, walk me through this. So the entire county championship was a 5-day affair, back to back to back to back, in Cambridge.
Yeah,
Away you go.
So you'd had Division 1, Division 2 and Division 3 all playing at all the university grounds in Cambridge, and you'd play 50 overs back to back. And every night you'd end up at Queen's.
Tell you what, well, here we go. Cricket Archive, one of the great gifts to modern mankind. 2003, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th and 30th July. You played in all 5.
So these were county players. Really well bowled this from Gregory. So she's just going at singles, one wide to her name, but started nicely here, just driving that run rate up. So yeah, county players, full-time jobs during the week. They take the week off of work and go and play this, and then you'd have some of the England players available. So I remember Mel Jones playing for Surrey for a very long time as they're overseas. Ebbs playing for Surrey. It's a dot to Danny Gregory. So pressure really mounting here. Marlow 10 from 7 and Glenn 3 from 5. As that run rate just continues to drop here for Durham. So the point I'm trying to make is kudos to these players who were by no means professional cricketers in any way, shape or form. Even the England players weren't professional back then. For playing 4 or 5 days back to back of 50 over cricket. It was, I mean, I was young and my body could take it, and I wasn't a bowler, but I mean, imagine bowling that many overs in that many days.
8 overs gone here. Looks like Tilly Courtine Coleman back into the attack. Scores 54 to 4. So trying to see, right, so you're playing for Hampshire 2003, and I'm guessing you all kind of, as you said, you all mentioned, ended up at, what was the club called?
Queen's. It was
Queen's.
One of the grounds, yeah, Queen's. All the teams would end up back there after the end of the day.
Oh, so Queen's is a cricket ground? Right, okay. I thought it was like a bar.
Well, no, there was a bar at the cricket ground, but
there we go.
One of the university grounds, yeah. It was lovely. I mean, playing in and around Cambridge in the summer, fantastic. Who knew there were so many cricket grounds in Cambridge, by the way?
Right, I've got bad news for you. You played 5, won 1, lost 4.
Yeah, that was 2003. There was one year that we actually won, I think. It was severely rain affected. I think we probably only played about 1 game and therefore ended up winning the division. But yeah,
it's the wonderfully named Frizzle Women's County Championship. Played 3 games in 2002. Hampshire won the Essex by 79 runs. 25 not out.
Yep.
For K.E. White at the end.
K.E. White, yeah.
Batting above Heather Knight. What?
No.
H.
That's Holly Knight.
There we go. A boundary for Durham.
Finally, a boundary for Durham. Struck really nicely into the pocket there by Marlow. She just waited on that one. Was that Emma Marlow or was that Abby? No, sorry, that was Abby Glenn. My mistakes.
Just finding that
Probably
gap
talk
between.
a little bit more about this game, shouldn't we?
Oh, there's a little lull in the game. It's okay. Going back over previous glories of the Frizzle County Championship. Yeah, H Knight had thrown me there at number 11.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, that's my best friend actually, Holly Knight.
Oh, nice.
Now Holly Holmes, but yeah.
Rightly to be right. Were you correctly batting above her?
I was.
Could be out, won't be out. Finds the gap between Gregory and Chatterjee at short third and backward point. It's just one more run. That run rate for Durham is up above 12 and over now.
Marlow and Glenn striking at 100 each, but run rate required is 2 a ball, so we need to be striking at 200 each.
So, after 9 overs, scores a 61 for 4. I remember it was a stat I used to really enjoy. It's now a bit out of date, but it used to be a case stat when a run rate went above 12 and overs when teams really panicked, because the run rate of a free hit was about 12. So if you take all risks out of cricket, about 2 a ball is the maximum you'll score at. That is now not quite the case. I think free hits, their economy rate is around 16 or 17. But for a period of play, that was when panic stations really set in for the analysts, and the laptop users of the changing rooms were going, if it gets above 12s, we're in real trouble.
Oh, that's turned.
Very well bowled.
Really well bowled.
Davidson Richards at mid-off sinks to the ground. Shock and disbelief that somehow that went without a wicket. One more run added to the total. So far, Surrey have firm control of this game.
just get the feeling that Durham are just ever so passive here. I just like to see a little bit more. If you're going to go down swinging. Big thick inside edge there, that full toss. Saves Abby Glenn because that was a surefire LBW. Had she missed that with the bat.
That's just bunted into the leg side for one more run. Durham are going to have to twist pretty soon here. They're in a very unenviable position. 4 down, 12 and a half's needed.
I think the big difference between these two sides is the depth in the batting lineups and the form that the batting teams have had. So if you look through this batting lineup, batters in currently Emma Marlowe, Abby Glenn, to come Phoebe Turner, Catherine Fraser, Sophia Turner, Lauren Filer, Katie Levick. By contrast, Surrey's lineup, batters still to come. Alexa Stonehouse had scored 50 for the team. Priyanaz Chatterjee had scored a fair few runs not too long ago. Rhiannon McDonald-Gay had also been in the runs fairly recently. Callie Moore has a 50 to her name this season as well. So when you just stack the batting lineups next to each other, you certainly favour the Surrey team.
Well, we're at the halfway stage of Durham's run chase. The score's 65 for 4. We're going to have a change of bowling. We're going to see Phoebe Franklin for the first time today, following on from her half century with the bat in the first innings. Starts for dot ball. Kira Chatty's up to the stumps. It's Franklin. Often see Chatley back when Franklin's bowling, so obviously a tactical decision. A pretty standard field. Deep mid-wicket. Deep mid-wicket, deep square leg and long on out on the leg side, giving Durham that whole vacant square leg area in front of vacant leg side area in front of square. More than happy for them to take singles into that area.
Just looking back through the ball by ball here, Durham have only scored 1 boundary in the last 6 overs.
It's another dot ball. Slight fumble from Chatterjee at cover, but no damage done. It's been very difficult for the Durham players to get the ball away, and you're hoping maybe the extra pace of Franklin would allow them to kind of slash a boundary or two behind square. So far, no dice. There, the ball is slashed away with that extra pace of Franklin. No matter how hard Gregory tries, that is Durham's first boundary in 6 overs and a much needed one.
Yeah, just gliding over the head of short third. Danny Gregory puts in a good chase, but that seems to pick up some speed with the top spin, kicks on off the surface and beats Danny Gregory to the boundary.
Dot ball for Franklin, just 5 runs off the over so far. 5 balls gone. I was surprised to see, I thought it was a great show of kind of being a team person, that Susie Bates is here despite not being eligible to play.
Yeah, it's certainly a long journey.
Excellent diving stop from Franklin to complete her over, just 5 runs off it. After 11 overs, the score's 70 for 4. That run rate keeps going up for Durham.
One thing I forgot about playing cricket at Guildford is they do a 10, actually a 14 out of 10 lasagna.
Oh,
and I can smell it. I can smell the lasagna for post-game. So in the 50 overs you'd have it obviously at tea, but in the T20s you'll have a light snack before the game, you'll have your hot meal after. Lucky girls. And I got a whiff of the lasagnas. All come flooding back.
It's It's a
And
great
the
reputation to have.
garlic bread. Oh yeah, fantastic lasagna.
It's beautifully bowled from Gregory. It's beaten everyone, and that'll be 4 byes.
Yeah, that has, I don't know how that has missed. It's deceived everyone. Straight through the gate of the batter. Too quick for Chatley to pick up. 4 byes.
Well, 4 very useful runs for Durham. He needs a lot more boundaries quickly. See where that run rate is up to 13 and over yet. Scamper through for 1. Davison Richards not as dead-eyed this time, misses the stumps.
120 is the runs required from 52 balls. So you need a couple of really productive overs here to be anywhere near competing and getting near that total. Not impossible.
That's short from Gregory, but again, those cut shots hitting the sweeper, just going for 1 rather than 4. The required run rate, 13.7 now. Marlowe without a boundary from the 17 balls that she's faced. That's a drop from Chatley. We just heard that edge from up here on the commentary gantry, which suggests it was quite a thick edge. A lot of movement, you can see it's just taken Chatley on the thumb. A really tough chance. It's down the leg side. Bit of bat, bit of pad. 1 run, no bat. My deepest apologies. Giving us leg byes.
I was just practicing my leg by signal there. I was wondering how I would signal, if I'd go with a straight leg or a bent knee.
Do you have a conclusion?
I can see why he went for the straight leg, to be honest.
And that's out. This time Gregory putting her length back ever so slightly, and Abby Glenn advancing down the track, misses it. Kira Chatley does the rest. And that's 5 wickets down for Durham.
And again, stopped up to 60, 77 to 5.
Yeah, that's well taken by Chatley. That's actually kept quite low, so she's done well to keep her hands low and gather that, because those can sneak under the gloves if you rise too early, particularly when it's short or back of a length.
So 12 overs gone now here at Guildford. Scores are 77 for 5. Run rate up at 14 and over. I think we can say with some confidence that Surrey have 1 foot in the semi-finals. Final stage taking place down in Taunton on Monday. All being well, if this match was to play out as you'd expect from this point, it would be Surrey making their way there. There is one other game in the Vitality T20 Women's Cup happening at the moment. I'll have the scorecard for you guys right now. Lancashire against Leicestershire, and that game's over. Lancashire have won by 109 runs. Lancashire made 180. More runs for Emma Lamb, 41. We'll count 41 as more runs. And Leicestershire bowled out for 71. Sophie Eccleston with 3 for 14 from her 3.5 overs. So, Callie Moore back from the railway end. Marlowe just bunts the ball up to long on. That's an amazing team Lancashire put out. And this is the point of this competition, that you are wanting to get those mismatches in place in the hope of an upset to kind of spread the game, have an exciting knockout competition. So Leicestershire, who are not a tier 1 side, coming up against a bowling attack that includes Kate Cross and Sophie Eccleston. Don't forget Tara Norris, who's an international cricketer in her own right.
Yeah, Potts as well. Fee Morris. It's an experienced bowling attack.
pulled into the leg side. Again, a lot of clean contact from Marlowe, so just the 1 run.
2 fixtures tomorrow in the T20 County Cup as well. So Kent take on the Blaze at Canterbury, and Yorkshire take on the Bears.
Durham are going to look for 2. They're going to decide to take 2 because there's been a fumble in the outfield. But my heart did go into my mouth just for a second there. I thought we might be looking at another mix-up in the middle.
I'd like to see the dot ball percentage here that Surrey have bowled, because this is probably their best bowling performance of the season, I'd say, across both competitions, 50 over and T20, which is long overdue, because I think they wouldn't be too shy in saying that they've underperformed from a bowling perspective so far this season. But this is really conclusive bowling in terms of sticking to plans, bowling to their fields, being disciplined, not bowling extras. So it's nice to see.
Well, after 13 overs, the score's 82 for 5. Durham, well, 113 or 42 balls. And if they are to do it, I would love to see it, because it'll be an incredible act of batting. I'm going to need, well, run rate up at 15.4. Danny Gregory to continue. Scamper through for 1, but Chatterjee does the fielding. So you were talking earlier about the kind of fielding analytics you'd get back after playing a game. Kind of from a 50 over game, how many times are you really likely to touch the ball? How much of a difference is there between these hotspot fielding positions and the kind of lesser travelled ones?
Yeah, it's a good question actually, because one thing that all players in the professional game do is they do their daily monitoring. So whenever you know, from the minute you wake up in the morning, you log how you slept, how your body feels, muscle soreness. Bowlers log how many overs they've bowled in a day. It's driven nicely down the ground just to pick up 1 there. Gregory bowling really well here in her final over. She's 1 for 14 from 3.3. Yeah, how many throws you've made in training and in a game, and
how many throws you've made?
So how many times you throw the ball. So your throwing workloads are really heavily monitored.
I don't really know how you'd manage to keep track of that. Wouldn't you just lose count?
Yeah, in a game, actually, it's easier than you think. You can sometimes, it depends where you field. You know, if you field as a boundary rider and you're in a hot spot, you can, make a serious amount of throws in the game. Whereas if you field at short third or short 5, not really. It's really nicely driven. Great stop there from Alice Davison-Richards. For sure saves a boundary that Durham are so desperate in need of. Yeah, so you're monitoring all of these elements, and I forget completely where I'm going with this point. What was your question?
I'm sort of interested to know just how many kind of touches of a ball you'd make in either a T20 or a 50 over game.
Yeah, and it really depends where you field. You put your best fielders in the most high traffic areas. Nearly another mishap there. I've seen quite a few of those. Throw in was not the kindest. Kira Chatley wears that on the chest as it comes in on the bounce from the ring. But yeah, in a 50 over game, there are periods that you go through the game, and I remember many a game where I've been fielding a mid-off, and I've probably touched the ball in the game maybe 5 or 6 times, fielded the ball. But in a T20, obviously, you're going to touch the ball a lot more, just due to the nature of the game. But yeah,
5 feels so few. It's always. I remember coaching when I was younger, and you'd see a kind of 8, 9-year-old kid there at mid-off, and it's freezing cold. You'd always think, why did I like this? I don't. What part of that is fun? They're standing there.
Yeah. And of those 5 times you touch the ball, you think, gosh, did I have a good impact? Did I pick the ball up cleanly those 5 times? Did I hit the stumps when I
Stonehouse from the railway end. Durham scamper through for a single. So what would be defined as a positive impact?
Well, have I saved 1?
Okay.
Have I saved 4? Have I gone to ground if I needed to stop 4? You know, could I have gone to ground? Oh, that's kind of deceived everyone there. Phoebe Turner steps so far outside off stump to try and get that over square leg, completely missed it, and in doing so falls Kira Chatley, and they sneak through for a bye.
I like that from Phoebe Turner, however, because that is the vacant area of the ground. You've got deep square leg who's just in front of square, and a 45 is pretty fine. So by walking across her stumps and trying to access it, it's kind of a proactive level of batting we haven't quite seen from Durham so far this innings. Bold. Marlowe's stay comes to an end. An inside edge onto her stumps, and Stonehouse picks up her second wicket of the day.
Yeah, Marlowe takes a big step back and across actually at the start of that delivery. Stonehouse just targeting that off-stump line forces the mistake. She was standing quite far outside leg stump, steps back and across, loses her balance, tries to smash the leather off of that one actually, and unfortunately takes an under edge and goes onto the stumps.
Well, Surrey's day gets better, Durham's day gets a little bit worse. 89 for 6. I think we can confidently say this game is all but in the bag for Surrey.
I'd really like to see these Durham batters just come and have a go now. You know, go down trying.
I'm always sympathetic to tailenders in this respect. You don't often get much of a bat. You've got 36 balls out there.
You want to play at the 20 overs, don't you?
Well, Fraser has a go. That is going to fall into a empty part of the field, so she picks up 1 run. No, I feel like we've done too much talk about our own previous cricketing endeavours. Differing levels. I remember playing a 3rd level game. So you talk about running out Claire Connor, I talk about playing a game against Reigate Priory 3, so I think that's the main difference. And Reigate Priory got 412 of their 50 overs, which was just so many.
That's a lot of runs.
It was remarkable. There's a guy who got 140 for them, who I know quite well, and at one point he turned round to me and he said, "What's happened to your club?" That'll be 4 runs.
Oh, that's really nicely guided there from Catherine Fraser. Threads that needle between backward point and short third. Picks up 4.
Well,
Chatterjee doesn't even bother going to run for it. Says, "No, you guys, I'm not getting that. You can pick that one up."
Just using the angle from Stonehouse there. Not much swing on offer at this stage in the innings. And well, after 15 overs, 95 for 6, exactly 100 required off 30 deliveries. And at the end of it all, I think we were about 180 for 8, and there was about 10 overs left, and it was all a disaster. And I remember batting, and they were going like, "Please, mate, can you just get out? Like, we want to. This game's been over for so long." In my head, I was like 17. I was like, I want to bat. That's why I came today. And I remember just finding it funny because I'd leave balls and then people start bowling off one pace. Tempted to scoop over short fine leg. More proactive batting from Turner.
Yeah,
So
I like that. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say it's too proactive from Turner. I'd be saying leave it. Block it and leave it.
Wait there.
Get your balls faced. Have a net.
Well, yeah, but this is it. This can be a net, and this is the opportunity to practice all of those things that you do in training that sometimes as a tail ender you might be a little bit too afraid of pulling out in the middle. There's nothing to lose here.
Turner gives herself space and punches the ball over mid-off. Somehow Phoebe Franklin has scampered round to cut that off. I think she's placed at that deep extra cover position again. It's a wonderful cricket shot from Turner.
these are the things that I was just mentioning. So this is your opportunity just to play like you train, and sometimes it's so hard to get into that mindset of, you know, I must play the way that I train. But when you've got nothing to lose, this is the situation where you can just have a go and just see what you can do.
It's a swing and a miss on that occasion from Turner. Failed to mention Davidson Richardson come into the attack for her first over of the day.
That was a big swing and a miss, actually. She's a bowler, she needs to look after that back. Yeah, brilliant. Really well done, Phoebe Turner. Great attitude, love that.
That's 4 runs. She tried once and failed. She tried again and succeeded. I think there's a saying about something along those lines.
If at first you don't succeed.
Scoop, scoop, and scoop again. There we go. 6 runs off the over so far. The equation, a notional 94 off 26 balls. At this stage, I think we're pretty confident in saying Surrey will end up winning this game, but they'll be searching, or attempting to bowl Durham out and kind of finishing this off in convincing fashion. That scoop did bring up Durham's 100 runs.
With that show of aggression, fine leg has gone back and deep extra cover has come up. Now Phoebe Turner, your move.
I hope we see that back away and punch over mid-off again. Well, we'll see an attempted version of it. I'd always quite enjoy this field, where you have 5 fielders in the ring on the offside, 4 scattered away on the leg side, but we're going to see that change once more time. I've really not seen this position, deep extra cover, used ever at all, really, and today it's been almost an ever-present from both sides.
Calling a slower ball. I like the deep extra cover. I think it's a really effective, if you've done your scouting on your teams, maybe not so much here in this situation, but it's a really responsive, kind of reactive position to have a fielder in terms of, I'm going to bowl full and I'm going to bowl straight, and I want you to drive me, but also I'm not going to give you 4 for it, so you can play the nicest shot in the world, but you're only going to get 1. It's very intelligent bowling. It's putting your ego to one side and saying, yeah, I'm happy for you to go for 1, but you're certainly not picking up a boundary.
4 overs to go here, 102 for 6. McDonald Gay is now returning to the attack from the railway end. Because traditionally you'd have mid-off cover points out, the backward points in the ring, with the idea that if you bowl straight, you've got your protection at cover and mid-off, and then if you miss, you have protection wide. Scamper through for a quick single. Is the idea here that you don't miss wide, and so even if you do bowl your good ball, you'll have protection, and you basically still don't have protection for your bad ball, but you're backing yourself to not bowl it. Is that fair, or am I reading too much into that?
Yeah, I think it largely depends on the bowler.
Muted appeal, but that's clipped the pad on the way through.
This is certainly something new this season, the deep extra cover, as opposed to the cover point. So in seasons gone by, you'd have particularly for the seamers, they would have a cover, so sweeper cover, and probably long on, deep mid-wicket, deep square or fine leg.
Big heave from Fraser. She stepped across her stumps.
And then if they're going to bowl full, not bowl anything straight and want them to hit down the ground, then they'd go cover, deep cover, long off, long on, mid-wicket, and just say hit me down the ground. I'm not going to bowl anything short, so you're not going to have any width, and I'm not going to bowl anything short. But no, I like this move.
Turner goes for it once more.
This is an intelligent move here because it's saying I'm going to bowl full and I'm going to bowl straight. If you want to score 4, you've got to go over mid-off. and that is a very, very hard shot to play. But I will give you the credit where it's due if you can drive me through extra cover.
Well, I hadn't seen it until today. Now it's been in place almost throughout the day. And there we see it in action immediately. They're coming back for two. It could be another run out. It is going to be another run out. Durham hitting self-destruct again. That's the third run out of the innings.
Yeah, great throw in from the boundary from Calliamore in that deep extra cover. Bounces nicely into McDonald-Gay's hands over the top of the stumps, and just a take and break for her. Simple.
Well, a very official handshake from her skipper Bryony Smith in congratulating her as well. And I must admit, I don't really know how we've ended up in that situation. Because the batter on strike was able to call it. It was Fraser's call. She was watching it. She was watching the throw come in all the way. And she was watching it come in all the way, beating her to the other end. 7th wicket. 105 on the board.
The third turn is coming into bat.
I think Surrey will be keen to bowl out Durham here. I think they can take 10 wickets, job done.
Turner, thick outside edge. Gregory, which she put in the dive, she makes it in time. Able to scamper through for two. So, 3 overs to go here at Guildford. Surrey on their way to a comfortable victory. Durham 107 for 7. With 3 wickets within those 7. 3 run-outs within those 7 wickets. We'll see Tilly, Courtine, Coleman coming back into the attack for her 4th and final over. Her figures are none for 15 so far.
Highest partnership here for Durham so far was between Emma Marlowe and Abby Glenn of 30. Other than that, that's a lovely shot.
Well, easy as you like from Sophia Turner.
First ball down the track, over extra cover. Thank you very much.
Well, we mentioned earlier that we think if you hit the ball over cover and it would have reached the boundary but was fielded, you should get an automatic 4. If you actually complete the task, maybe we double it to an 8.
She's done really well there, because that's actually turned away from her, so she's kind of extended the levers.
She goes for it again. This time it's going to fall safely, but only just. 1 run added.
So yeah, just talking about those partnerships. So their highest partnership's 30. Whereas for Surrey, they had a partnership of 88, 65 and 23. So next highest partnership for Durham was 22 after that.
Thick outside edge, and that could run away for 4. It will. Well bowled from Courtine Coleman. More aggression shown from Phoebe Turner. She moves on to 21. I know you've been waiting with bated breath about the type of wide cricket ball used in the club leagues. That's a wonderful shot. Steps across her stumps, and that's
wonderful.
6. A really clean strike of the ball from Phoebe Turner. Although her strike rate's not phenomenally high, has been attempting a different shot every ball. It's been a very entertaining innings. She has been the pick of Durham's batters today. She's on 27 off 21. That's a 3rd boundary to her name. I can confirm they're White Dukes balls. They're not the top tier.
Yeah.
It's a level or 2 below. More space given. Should be caught. Is caught. Well held by Chatterjee. A bit of a fresh air game. Not required with bat or ball today. When she's had a chance to make an impact, she has a positive fielding impact to her name.
Yeah, great catch there. Diving to her left, 2 hands, straight from the textbook. Those are the ones that you practice in the winter on the mats. That's how dry the outfield is. She's managed to slide along on her elbow. She'll be glad that she's got her long sleeves on. But you know what? Kudos to you, Phoebe Turner, because she's come out with the right attitude with the bat there. And that's exactly what that Durham team needed. So she should be happy with their efforts. She obviously would have wanted to carry her bat, I'm sure. But 27 from 22, top scoring at 7. Get her up the order. Play some beautiful shots. That pull for 6 on the longest boundary in the ground towards the main road, flat and hard, was delightful. She's really pulled out a nice array of shots, some scoops, pulls, cuts, drives.
She's played a few handy innings this year. She's got a couple of 30s in the one-day cup. She also made a ton, an unbeaten century on Surrey's Durham's warm-up kind of pre-season tour of Zimbabwe. She made 102 in Harare, which I think must be an amazing pre-season tour to get yourself out to Zimbabwe. Right, 2 overs to go. 122 for 8. Surrey going through the motions a touch here, just as the match comes to a close. Kirstie Coleman, her work for today is done, finishing 1 for 31 off her 4 overs. Who are we going to have here from the railway end? We're going to have McDonald Gay to bowl to Sophia Turner.
I have seen Lauren Filer hit a 6 or 2 in her time, I will say that. She was down at Western Storm. She's had a few cameos with the bats.
Well, Sophia Turner can hit 6 sixes this over, and then Lauren Filer hits 6 sixes next over. It'll be a tie. Surrey ahead.
Just keep the foot behind the line.
You know what? One more indulgence.
Go on.
Of cricket tales of life's gone by. I once played a 6-a-side tournament where I failed to defend 11 off 1 ball.
6-a-side as in you had 6 fielders.
Out, yes. Turner steps across, looking to flick the ball over short fine leg. Only succeeds finding the hands of Kirstie Coleman. McDonald Gay has her 2nd wicket of the day. This is a very professional, very fine performance from Surrey all round, with bat and ball and in the field. Katie Levitt comes out as Durham's number 11. Surrey will be fancying themselves to take all 10 here.
No one absent today.
No one absent. Great callback. Look, if you people haven't been listening to the stream from beginning to end, you're going to miss out on little snippets like this.
100% attendance from the Durham team today.
It was Glamorgan who were missing something, just bagging Durham for it. Oh, goodness me. McDonald Gay into Katie Levitt. You know what, I think we can save my 6-a-side cricket story for another time. Next time.
Next time.
Yeah.
Tune in.
It wasn't even 11 off 1, it was 13 off 1 ball. I was so intrigued.
Intrigued, but disappointed.
It was a bad day for me, but that's okay. Swing and a miss. Donald Gay will hope to get through the rest of this over with a few dot balls, maybe even a wicket, and make those figures look as shiny and bright as possible. We've still got the deep extra cover, even with Katie Levitt in at number 11.
Bryony Smith with a appeal from cover. Glad to see her getting stuck into the number 11 today.
You can always tell an insight into someone's personality, like when they start chirping in the field. Here we go, we're safe now.
Yeah.
They need 73 off 7. They're 9 down.
I'm going to give it now.
Well, a wicket maiden in the 19th over from McDonald Gay. 6 balls remain here at Woodbridge Road. The score is 122 for 9. So Lauren Filer will take strike for the final over. It looks like it's going to be Davidson Richards to bowl it.
Real spread of wickets again here for this Surrey team. There's not really been one standout bowler so far this season. Danny Gregory's picked up a 4-fer, but it's always seemed to be a bit of a team effort, and the trend continues. So Courtine Coleman picking up 1. My scorecard's not updated. I need to refresh this.
High into the air, should be out. Davidson Richards under it, caught, Surrey win. A very, very professional performance from the home team, who booked their spots in finals day on Monday down in Taunton. Surrey win by 72 runs.
That's that team bowling performance we were talking about. So Alice Davidson Richards in and among the mix. So the only 2 bowlers today not to take wickets, Phoebe Franklin and Callie Moore. However, both very efficient with their economy. 3 run-outs. Team bowling performance today.
No, sorry, can't have asked for any more from their quarter-final here at Guildford. Emma Jones and Phoebe Franklin, the stars of the bat. Phoebe Franklin making 58 of 41. But Emma Jones really rose to the occasion. 88 not out of 49 deliveries. A wonderful range of shots, regularly striking the ball over extra cover. See here the match summary. Jones and Franklin, the 2 half-centurions on the day. Maddie Villiers with 2 wickets for Durham, but Katie Levitt and Lauren Filer, probably the pick of the bowlers, 1 wicket apiece, and an economy rate a smidge over a run a ball. Then in reply, Durham in reality were never really in it. They lost Bess Heath in the 2nd over of their run chase with a kind of suicidal attempt of a run to mid-on. 2 more run-outs followed later on in the innings, but it was Phoebe Turner and Emma Marlowe, the only 2 batters to reach 20. McDonald Gay with 2 wickets, as did McDonald Gay with 2 wickets, as did, I said that again, it's the wrong sentence. Alexa Stonehouse took 2 wickets as well, and then 1 apiece for Davidson Richards and Danny Gregory. That's it for the Surrey live stream. Thank you very much for joining us for this Surrey victory over Durham. The men are obviously playing at the Kia Oval at the moment. As we speak, they are taking on Essex. And then we'll be back, not on the Surrey live stream, but there will be broadcasts of the T20 Women's County Cup on Monday down in Taunton. We got there in the end, Kirstie. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you and speak to you again shortly.
Thank you, Cam.